something from someone who has nothing to steal. That's real.
Hey, what is up guys? Brenton from 3-Bit Gaming, and I'm here with another Build a Champ workshop. Now, this week we are going to be handling Ares. So, let's get into it. Ares is an extremely and really fun to use. So, let's go over here, get up to level 3. Okay, so I always start out with his 1, 2, and 3 with 1 level at least, because all 3 of them are extremely useful. So I have a build for you guys today, and it's actually a cooldown and damage Ares because of his passive. So each completed aura item that Ares owns grants him an additional 30 magic power. Super awesome passive. That's just enough said right there. So change extend from Ares' shield, doing damage to all enemies in its path. Hitting a god shackles them to Ares, cripples them, prevents them from movement abilities, dealing the same damage every second while slowing them and buffing Ares. While shackled, Ares can fire another chain for free within 2 seconds. He can fire up to 3, so that's pretty great. Ares strengthens the defenses of himself and all nearby enemies, granting protections and reducing crowd control durations. For each shackled enemy, the protection buffs are increased, and that's bolster defenses. That is also super useful in team fights. Just turning team fights with his 1 and into his 2 is just is extremely easy. So his third ability is Searing Flesh. Flames pour forth from Ares' shield, engulfing enemies in a cone in front of him and causing damage every 0.5 seconds for 4 seconds. Ares is immune to knockback for the duration, so that'd be like a newer throwing his knockback. I think it's like his 3 or something like that. Okay, and his ultimate is called No Escape. Ares chains out all enemy gods he throws chains out to all enemy gods in an area around him. All enemies hit by the chains are pulled to Ares after 2.5 seconds, taking damage and are stunned. Now, the ult doesn't do a super substantial amount of damage, but it does do enough to hurt, so that's something that's also really good. So let's take a look. Usually I get cooldown boots for the 30 magical power, 250 mana, 10% cooldown reduction, and 18 movement speed. That's super good. I use this build in everything but Conquest, just because I don't know how to play him in Conquest. I don't know how to build him in Conquest. I'm sure I can learn very shortly, but I'm going to tell you this is not a short build a champ for Conquest. This is everything but. So let's go over to my next item. So usually, depending on what is on the other enemy team, whether it be more physical, more magical, what they have, who they have, be it mage, be it a good ADC, maybe like Hao Yi or something like that, because a good all damage carry can ruin your day. So let's go over to my first 2 items I usually build. If the enemy team has an all damage carry that I really don't like, I actually usually get Breastplate of Valor for the 75 physical protection, 300 mana, and 20% cooldown reduction. That's going to help your cooldowns quite a bit, give you the all-around physical protection and mana that you need. So after that, if the ADC, is not doing as much, and it all just basically depends on the situation, right? So if there's a magical and I don't like the magical, I'm obviously going to get Heartward Amulet, 45 magical protection, 200 health. All allies within 70 units gain 20 magical protections and 20 MP5. So that is super useful to help your team against that pesky that mage, maybe a Hebo, maybe a Janus that's really causing a stir in the ranks. So I usually go ahead and get Heartward, and then maybe Sovereignty would be, I would say, almost absolutely next. All allies within 70 units gain 30 physical protections and 25 HP 5. Now that gives you 200 health and 30 physical protection, so you're giving your teammates physical and magical protection now. You're giving them health and mana. So, I mean, there's just no reason not to do it. And if you would notice, these last 2 items that I built were aura items. Now, since you're building the aura items, he now has another 60, because those 2 are fully completed, another 60 magical power. Our next is going to be Voidstone. Now, this is going to give you more magical protection. We went and got physical protection from the Breastplate of Valor, so it's also really good to use to get the other side of that. Plus, as an aura, reduce the magical protection of enemies from within 55 units by 20. So that's really going to help out. So we're going to get that, and it's also going to give you the 40 magical power. And then to top it off, I usually go Gem of Isolation. Enemies hit by your damaging abilities will move 25% slower for 2 seconds. It gives you 70 magical power and then 250 of both health and mana. Super great. So as for relics, I usually go blink first. You'll see like every Ares ever get blink first. If I don't really think that I need blink, then I won't use blink until level 12. I always get blink at some point. But, you know, I might get curse, I might get thorns, I might get, depending on the game mode, I might get med, I might get frenzy if we're doing super good. But here, let's go over here and level to 20 real quick. Hurry up and get this. Come on, Ares. I believe in you. So, as I'm leveling, also be aware that there are many, many ways to counter Ares that will kind of put a damper on what you can do as an Ares and what you can't do. So, another thing you got to worry about is beads. Okay, so with beads, purification is a big problem for Ares because people can use it and get out of his ultimate, which this is the AoE for his ultimate. So, but you also got to think purification is 150 seconds. If you're in a team that is behind you 100% and you're going through and maybe you see 3 people on their team that have purification. Now, that means that you should prioritize the other 2 people that do not have purification and then try to rope at the same time as many people you can into your ultimate that have purification and try to get them to burn that, because you got to think with cooldown, your ultimate is going to be up before the 150 seconds of their relic. So that is that's really smart to think about that kind of thing, so you can get them to burn that, but you can also get the damage. Try not to be the guy that like, let's say, blinks in and snatches one person with his ultimate just to get the kill, but they have beads and then he just burnt his ult for however many amount of seconds. Another thing to worry about, let me go here back and let's just look at this real quick. So there's also a defensive item called Magi's Blessing. It gives them 15 physical protection, 15 magical protection, and 350 health. But the passive can also hurt Ares. Absorbs a single hard crowd control effect or root once every 70 seconds. When this occurs, the owner also receives first crowd control immunity. So that's really a damper on Ares also, because obviously his ultimate is a hard crowd control effect. So you can actually potentially get like maybe a Kumba Karn or something like that. If you get a Kumba and he has both beads and that, then he can get out of your ultimate twice. And then you have people like Ymir, who they go into a immunity effect whenever they're using their ultimate. So if Ymir is using his ultimate, has Magi's Blessing and beads, that's 3 ways for him to get out of it. So you have to be cognizant and aware of what they're building, what they are, what they have, which is something that doesn't really matter in arena and whatnot, but if you're going against some higher skilled players, higher tiered players, it might become a really big issue for you. So let's go into just straight damage. He does actually quite a bit of damage for a Guardian, and also you got to think with this build you're helping your team out quite a freaking bit. So let's just go and chain this guy. You can pop your 2 to get damage or to get buffs. So remember, his 2 strengthens the defenses of himself and all nearby enemy or allies, granting protections and reducing crowd control durations for each shackled enemy. So remember, you have to hit this skill. So if I shackle him once and then try to do it again, I can't do a third shackle. Okay, so that's something that you have to really pay attention to. And also, like I said, with the 2 actually states it how many enemies you have shackled. So you would have to try to get 2 to get the extra buffs. And you can see on my buff screen that it showed up. It gives you buffs per god that you're using. So I don't know. It's something to definitely remember and definitely be very aware of. It's just paying attention. As a guardian, you just need to be paying attention to what your team is doing at the first and foremost. So anyways, that's really all you need to know about Ares for this short and easy guide. Strengths and weaknesses, obviously, he's not easily countered like a full counter with item builds and whatnot, but there are plenty of instances to where you could be put in a situation where you have problems with the enemy team. People to watch out for, obviously. You really can't get trapped too often with this build and get picked off. Like you can't make bad decisions. So like if you're going in and like let's say there's an Arachne on the enemy team and you get caught by the Arachne, you should have already known that that was going to be a bad pick. You shouldn't go in on things that like hubris. You just shouldn't have hubris. You shouldn't have overconfidence that you're going to be successful. Make sure that you're not just dying. You're not the guardian that just dies 15 times because he already thinks at the start of the game that he can take and tank damage. So just combos right before this video is over with. Let's go for an X and then maybe another X since there's one too many. He popped there's only one enemy, so he popped a damage on me, the heal. So I immediately popped my buff, and then I hit him with the rest of the chains that were available to me, and then popped my searing flesh. Obviously, there's the blink and alt. So I'm going to take and pull him, and then chain him. He's going to do some damage. Oh, I missed that one. And then I'll chain him, and then just finish it out with that. So obviously, be also cognizant of using his 1 on enemies that have jumps to get away so that your team can catch up and hit people. So like let's say there's a Cupid in a team fight and he's wanting to get out of the team fight. You see him turn around and dash. Why don't you just give him a chain or two and turn around and start fighting the rest, or just try to chase him to try to see if you're an assassin will pick up that secure. So anyways, super high damage, good health, very good utility, very good support. Don't get caught. Don't go in on everything, and use your ult wisely. Don't use it every time you get a chance. Don't hold on to it either, but use it in situations that are going to be a 100% benefit for the team. If you think, well, we can trade, that's obviously not the way to think about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and leave a like and subscribe if you want to support the channel. If you want to see a different god, leave a comment and we'll get to post in the god that you want to see. Until then, we will see you on the next Build a Champ workshop. Peace out, guys.